Hi everybody, Tracy here. Hope that you're enjoying your summer, and I'm willing to bet that you've done a little bit of thinking about the upcoming school year. So today I have a video to share with you a couple of ways that you can use Google Forms to manage some tasks in your classroom that might make it a little bit easier for you or just might make it a little bit more systematic for you. So let's go check it out.
Wow, he jumps! The crab jumps! And Brachiosaurus! And a Stegosaurus! Yikes!
So I'm going to show you how to create a couple of different forms through Google Forms. The first one I'm going to start with is a bathroom pass. To do that, click New, go to More, click Google Form. I'm going to title it. This one I'm going to title just Bathroom Pass. Now, previously when I taught in the classroom, I just had it called like the Class Pass, but in our school, we have nurse passes that we have to hand the children, and we all have fountains in the classroom. So really the only place they're going to be leaving to go to is the bathroom pass. So I'm going to type name here, and Google automatically recognizes that as a short answer, and they type it in. I'm going to make this a required question. Now, one of the things, sorry about that, you can hear Owen in the background. One of the things I want to say is that for our younger students, you might want to change this to a drop down and type their names in. Now, I'm going to show you what that would look like for them. So when I click on the preview, they click choose, they can just choose their name and then click submit, and they're good to go. For these purposes, because I'm going to share it below, I'm just going to keep this the way it is. Now, I'm going to click responses because it will collect your responses, and I'm going to show you some of the information that's going to collect for you. So when I click create spreadsheet, I'm going to create a new spreadsheet because I don't have anything else right now at this time that I want to connect it to. I'm going to click create. So every time a child signs out to use the pass, it's automatically in this column going to tell you the date and the time they went, and then it will put it here. Now, what's great about this is that once you've gotten a bunch, like if you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like Tatiana is going to the bathroom quite a lot, you can click on the name form. You can click on view, format, no, data. You want to click on data and you want to sort the column. So it will put all of Tatiana's times that she's gone to the bathroom in one spot for you. So you can absolutely organize it that way. And I'm going to put the link to this Google form for you below in the video description so that if you want to just copy it and use it and create your own response sheet, go right ahead. And or if you want to start with what I've already created and then create a drop-down menu, go right ahead. It's completely up to you. So how do you share this with your students? There are two different ways you can share this with your students. When you click send, you can actually send them the link. So you could put this link into Seesaw, and then once, especially for our students who have laptops, they can favorite this Google form and they can just use it as a way to sign out. You can do the same thing with our younger students. They can open the link, they can save it as an icon on the iPads, and they can just open it. The other thing you could do is that you can copy this link. And I use a QR code creator called QR Stuff. And when you go to QR Stuff, you can type the link in here. You can just paste it in. And you can copy this QR code, paste it next to wherever you want the sign out thing to be, so they can just scan the QR code and it'll bring them automatically to the bathroom pass. And so that's another way that you can do it.
Oh no, he broke the form.
Hey everybody, so the second Google form I want to show you that I found really saves time once we teach students the routine of doing it, and really frees me up to do things that I can spend my time doing more things with than doing some status of the class stuff, is taking a status of the class. So I've used this type of Google form a couple of different ways. As a classroom teacher, I used it as the quote unquote reading log. I took a status of the class for the kids to tell me what they were reading. So usually on their book shopping days, I had them type in what they were reading, and whenever they happened to change books, they added them into the Google form. This really helped me see how long they were sticking with a book, if I needed to have some conversations with them. This was really helpful, particularly if I had students who were out a lot, or if I, for some reason I couldn't get to conference with everybody that week. The other way that I've used it was as an exit ticket status of the class, because I frequently had students working on different things and moving at their own pace. So it was a good way for me to see where everybody was, so that if I noticed it was taking a couple of kids forever to research in between my times of conferring with them, then I knew that would help me say, okay, tomorrow I'm pulling this small group. Or if I have kids who I notice, like, okay, they really, they have finished their research and I have not had a chance to confer with them yet, then that gave me a chance to confer with them, check in with them, see if there was anything I could push in for them, see if I could perhaps talk with them and move them on to the next step of their learning. So again, to do that, we're going to click New, Google Form. And this one I am just going to name Reading Status. And one of the things that I like doing is I like changing the color palette. Now, because this one is like a reading status of the class, I'm going to actually change it to some kind of book background. One of the tricky things is that when you change the background, you have to be a little patient because sometimes it takes a tick for it to load. I always love this one. And it's not letting me do it because my recording thing's in the way. So I'm going to choose that one. And it's going to load. While it's loading, I'm going to start with my question. So I always start with name. It's going to change it to a short answer. Again, you can do a drop down if you want to. And then I'm going to add a question. And usually my question is, what are you reading? Now, this is a pretty simple one for just like a reading status of the class. Now, I'm going to put this also as a short answer because they're going to type in the text of their book. The other thing you could do for younger kids is you could do a file upload. And so they could take a picture of the books that they're reading and upload it. But honestly, if you're going to do that, you could just use Seesaw for that. So you can do a reading status and then what are you reading? And I'm going to make that a required question as well. When I go into responses, I'm going to click a new spreadsheet. I'm going to create it, but I'm going to click on this button here because you can do a couple of different things here. That's not what I want to do. I want settings. So in my settings, I don't want to restrict it. Oh, I could restrict it to correct users. I don't need their email. I don't want to check limit to one response because they could potentially be reading more than one book at a time. So I can click this so they can see their what they've actually responded. And then presentation, show link to submit another response. I want that in case they're reading more. Confirmation message. So sometimes I just put something like, oh, reading is thinking, or whatever my message is. And I don't want it in quiz, so I'm just going to click save. All right. And then the same thing, I'm going to send it to them. I can send it via the link. I can, and I love this because I like shorten URL. So the link doesn't get that long either. And then I can also, again, go into QR stuff and make a QR code for them to scan it. This is, I found, works really well with older kids because they can save the link and they can bookmark it and they can go back to it consistently. All right, so the last thing I want to show you for how you can use Google Forms is called confidential reporting. And I cannot take credit for this. I saw it on Pinterest, thought it was pretty smart, and I thought that some of you might really be interested in this. So again, click New, Google Form. And then I'm going to title it. Now I'm going to put name, and this time I'm not going to make it required just because it's confidential. So it's up to you though. You can absolutely make it required. And then I'm going to add a question. Off the top of my head, I'm just thinking, what are you reporting? What would you like to tell me? What do you have to share? Something to that effect. And I'm going to put a paragraph so that the kids can put that in. That's a required question. And I think, and that's it. Now I'm going to click responses. When I click create spreadsheet, I'm actually going to select an existing spreadsheet. And the reason why I'm doing this, and I'm going to click select, is because one of the things I can't stand is having too many spreadsheets. So I'm going to choose from one that I already have. I'm actually going to choose the bathroom pass one because it'll be right there. All right. So timestamp, name, and then what are you reporting? And then I'm going to do one last thing up here. I'm going to format this so that all the text gets wrapped. And then I'm going to take this column and I'm going to make it just a little bit longer. Now this is form response 1. I'm going to rename these. So now this is going to be called bathroom pass. And this one is going to be renamed to confidential reporting. I'm going to just reorder these because I'm assuming that the bathroom pass will be used more than the other. The other thing I want to show you, so in the settings, I'm going to click get email notifications for new responses. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure that I get informed right away if something is happening so that I can deal with it. The reason why I love this is that it gives students a way to share information that they might not be just quite so comfortable having a conversation about immediately, but they want to be able to tell an adult. So clearly this is something if we're going to use, if any of us are going to use it, need to like teach into it, set some boundaries. The settings, I'm not going to restrict it because our younger kids don't necessarily have a Crec account. And I'm going to let them edit it after they submit it in case they want to make some changes. I'm going to actually let them see their summary and their text responses. And I'm going to say, thank you for sharing. I will get back. I will. Thank you for sharing. I will be this report and talk with you soon. Something like that. I might change it in the end, and then I'm going to save it. So I'm all about always changing the color palette, and I like the themes a little bit more than I like just the plain old colors. So I'm definitely going to change that a little bit. I kind of like this or this one because they're both just kind of like how I think I'm gonna choose the yarn. And again, this is one when I go to send it, I am going to shorten the URL, and then I'm going to create a QR code and QR stuff. I think I am going to use this and teach Intuit, and I'm going to create a QR code and leave it and put it in a couple places in the library so that students can share that with us. And that's it for that one. So I hope you found that useful, some different ways to use Google Forms. I put some links below in the description box that when you open them, they will actually open up and force you to make a copy. So you do have very little work to do. So if you want to start using them this school year with your kiddos, just click on the link below, make a copy, and edit and use it as you choose. Have a great year.